made it, Greg. Day 5.
Day 5.
Well done, mate. We're on the shuttle at flipping last. Yes. It's rubbish service, isn't it? This is so slow and it's so expensive. Let's not moan. We're going to pop the great interview with Lars Strandridder from Best in Tesla at the end of this video. So, but we're just going to sort of round up our day 5 of travelling across from Luxembourg to the Channel Tunnel, and we're going to be parting ways once we get back into the UK. So, just the 5th video, really. I thought, what a great way to end with Lars's commentary about the event and where he thinks Tesla is heading. It's a really great interview. So, but if you don't want to be watching us right now, then just skip ahead. I'll put a chapter in it somewhere, and you can just skip to that interview. But don't go. Yeah, this is going to be a nice little chat, isn't it?
Yeah,
all right. All right.
Yeah.
So, where did it all begin this morning? I remember making the choice between I opened my eyes and I'm like, oh, how should I get out of the car today then? Shall I use the side door or shall I use the back door? And I was trying to record it, and then I was like, oh, I know, I'll open the boot with my phone, my Tesla app phone, but then I couldn't record at the same time. So anyway, I just slid out the side door as usual. The flip-flops were there. It just feels easier to me. It feels weird going to the end of the car and plopping off the end.
I don't get that choice because of the parcel shelf. But
you could technically.
I could.
Post yourself out of the letterbox of the back of your car. It's red, isn't it? You literally look like a letterbox. But I must say, it was a treat watching you flop out of your car this morning, because I happened to be walking by.
It's a bit more graceful than Sandy Monroe.
Indeed. I can't help but be reminded of David Attenborough. So now we see Greg about to leave his car with his big long legs. Very gracefully done. I think it did great. And then we packed up the car. We left. You managed to negotiate that slope. I thought you were very cautious.
I was very careful with my front bumper.
Yeah, you're reversing back up that slope.
Yes.
That's a good idea. And we left that campsite this morning after a cup of tea, of course. The milk has made it quite well, hasn't it? Thanks to my little fridge. It's been useful having that, tea facilities.
Yeah.
And then we started our journey to today's superchargers. We were far closer to France and the Channel Tunnel than I thought. We've only had 4 or 5 hours driving today?
Yeah, 4 hours driving.
But again, a far better route to go through Germany and Luxembourg and Belgium.
Yeah.
Much nicer. There's no toll roads. The roads are much better. There's tons of autobahns.
Mm-hmm.
It just, it's far better than going through France, isn't it?
Yeah.
I get no offence, French people. But for the first time in this trip, we've actually had a proper meal for breakfast, because we went to a hotel and Greg noticed they did breakfast. So you spent more money on 2 breakfasts than we did on the entire camping trip, I think.
It was worth it, though.
It was worth it. We ate our waiting food.
Yes.
And it even had little robots popping around, didn't it?
I almost tripped some guy out, but
I noticed it nearly tripped a few people up, actually. There was those robots.
But that French toast.
Yeah, it's good, wasn't it? And then back onto the motorway today. There's been no autobahns today at all, actually, is there? No, because we've not been in Germany.
No.
That's why there's no autobahns. Yeah. That makes sense.
You started in Luxembourg.
That's right. Yeah. I must say, having used Enhanced Autopilot, or FSD, which I subscribed to before this trip, I've got the hang of this indicating thing now really well, and it is actually quite nice to use, isn't it? I think I might miss it if I did a road trip without it now.
Oh, okay.
How are you getting on with it?
Well, I've had it for years now, so
just totally used to it.
Just used to it, yeah. And obviously, you've got the subscription, so you've got the choice of cancelling or not. But I've bought it outright, so I'm just waiting for FSD now. Yeah.
Oh, the dream of FSD on this trip would have been great. You know, for the most tired I've been is today. The last hour to get here, I've been exhausted. And I was thinking, if we had FSD, you have to get to your train. It's not something you just pull over and have a kip, is it?
Yeah.
So you have to continue your journey. I just imagined having FSD and having a little sleep would be great.
That would be lovely.
Yeah.
I think because of all the excitement has gone. We've just crashed now, haven't we, on the last day?
I think so, yeah. Yeah. Although I'm still thinking about editing videos, and
yes.
I've got the Sandy Monroe interview coming up, and I played it back earlier in the car so I could hear it. It's fantastic, and listening back to it, being nice and relaxed in the car, I realised how good it is. At the time I was recording it, I was rather nervous about talking to him and what to say, and trying not to look like a fool. I thought he'd read me like a book. He'd be like, "You're not an engineer. You're not even intelligent." But he didn't pick that up.
I'm actually looking forward to seeing it, because I know I was there, but I wasn't really taking it in properly. So I was like, just looking around, taking behind the scene photos and stuff.
Yeah,
so I'm actually looking forward to watching it myself.
Yeah, it's really good. I can't wait to share it with everyone. Do share any photos you got of like me and him as well, so I can add them into the video. So look out for that one. Make sure you like and subscribe, and you'll see that video. But goodness me, there's a lot of bombshells in it. Listening back, I didn't realise how many there were, but there's one enormous one at the end that I deliberately didn't talk to him about, but quite shocking. Anyway, let's I was going to say let's end it there, but one more thing. We went to a supercharger earlier, and we had a bit of a problem. We had to go through the hotel barriers, and there was guys there painting the floor of where all the superchargers were, and they had to get all the power turned off to the superchargers. So we were, Tesla's navigated us there, and we couldn't use the flipping superchargers, which wasn't too much of a problem because we were surrounded by other superchargers, but it was a bit far away, and I ended up getting to the next one with just 3%, so it was a bit of a close call. But you had a little issue, didn't you?
Yes. So luckily I charged 100% at that hotel,
breakfast hotel.
And then also we went to Mons, and that was the one that was closed. And then so the next one we typed in, I think I would have got there quite comfortably compared to you, but I just decided to take a 22-kilometre detour. Because I heard it say exit, so I was changing my music, so I didn't have the full map. I just had exit, so I went over and then swiped the music down and saw the road was going left, not right. So I was like, oh, that's not an exit. That's a stay on.
Meanwhile, I was on walkie-talkie. I was like, where are you going? I thought you'd just like spin around and come back, but no, 22 kilometres.
11 kilometres down, then 11 kilometres back.
If I had followed you, I would have had a big problem. Because I would not have had enough juice to get to any superchargers.
No.
That could have potentially been my first ever problem in 6 years of Tesla ownership, but it wasn't.
Luckily you didn't follow me.
And luckily you had enough range to get yourself to the hotel.
So quite lucky on that situation.
I mean, that's the biggest disaster we've had in the entire trip. Not bad, is it?
It's been so good other than that.
Been amazing. It's been a highlight then, if the actual event or anything, anyone particular that...
The Autobahn, obviously, that was great. My brief chat with K10, like at the end of Sandy's talk, she obviously went off to talk to him and stuff, so I didn't get a proper chat, but it was good to see her.
Well, I did actually talk to her. I said, is anyone sitting there? And then I sat down. Idiot, didn't flipping recognise her. I was concentrating on Sandy, you see. Like, damn it, Mr. Trick. The purpose of me doing these 5 videos, though, and as both camping, is just, the Tesla community is full of people that are just, loving the future. They're loving their cars, the possibilities that open up because of Tesla. Going to events like this, going to light shows, Tesla owners clubs, joining clubs and such, so you can get together and have fun on racetracks and events and stuff. I hope this has just inspired some people to go out and adventure in your Tesla, whether it's road tripping across Europe. It's not something I've ever done before. I started travelling to light shows and stuff with Simon, and Simon kind of like, come on, you can do it. I'm like, oh, okay. And now, look at this, 5 days of absolute pleasure, sleeping in the car, and we've met some wonderful people on the way, some new and some old people. And it's just great to be a part of the community. So my message to you, if you've got a Tesla, get out there and go camping in it. Don't forget to buy a Snuuzu, of course. Jigsaw 10 for 10% off. But make sure you're part of your community. Join your Tesla Owners Club wherever you are in the world as well. And keep an eye on the events pages because they'll tell you when meetups are going on. And believe me, there's meetups all the time. So yeah, we just want to say thanks to everyone who's followed us on this journey. It's been great. If you missed any of the other videos, I think I've put them in the playlist somewhere on YouTube. You might be able to find them if you missed any. But I guess now just over to end the 5-day experience, let's listen to Lars Strandridder, Best in Tesla. But thank you very much, everyone. I'm Will, this is Greg. You've been watching Tesla Jigsaw. Thank you very much, patrons. Your support is, as always, much appreciated. Bye for now. We don't need the table, do we?
No.
But it's for looks.
Yeah.
Let's just pretend we've got a beer on it. Lars Strandridder, absolute pleasure seeing you, as always. Best in Tesla.
Yeah.
You certainly are, my friend. That was so good. We've just come off, well, you've just come off stage. You've done a lovely presentation for everyone at the Tesla Takeover here in Flachau, Austria.
Yeah.
Your presentation was just superb, going through all the details of Tesla, right up until the, and your hook at the beginning was great, because you said the most exciting thing that you think is coming in the future isn't Optimus. It's not their biggest product. There's something beyond that, and I love that. Because I was like, what's he going to say?
Yeah, exactly.
So I wondered if you could, give us a 2-minute summary of your hour-long speech.
Well, that's going to be difficult.
I know. Sorry about that. I'm putting you on the spot. Let's keep it concise.
Yeah. Well, it's basically about how Tesla has progressed through the years with their innovation in manufacturing, and how, like Elon said back in 2020 at Battery Day, everybody's going to have electric vehicles and full self-driving cars, but not everybody's going to be great at manufacturing. Yeah. Their goal was to be head and shoulders about manufacture, like everybody in manufacturing, and I think they have done that. It's pretty clear that Volkswagen, with former Herbert Diess, wanted to learn from Tesla because they build electric vehicles 3 times faster than they do. Toyota ripped apart the Model Y, called it a work of art, and now copying Tesla's production method. Yeah. But the real game changer, I think, is that Tesla now is producing the Cybercab on their 100% automated production line. And for me, this is such a game changer when you can take the most complicated, large manufacturing consumer product that we probably build in the world, the car, and make that 100% automated. Yeah. In my mind, it's like, then there is nothing they can't produce and automate.
That was it. That's the mic drop moment. Is that there is nothing they can't produce now. They could, and AI is going to help them with that process in the future too, to come up with new products and how to design and manufacture them as well. Yeah. And with the convergence of SpaceX being thrown into the mix as well.
Now they just cover everything.
Possibilities.
They can go to space, they can go to moon, they can go to orbit,
Yeah. It's just a failure of the imagination right now to imagine what will be coming in the future for Tesla and SpaceX, isn't it? Yeah. Of course, people are going to want to see proof. As of course. We've just been listening to Joe Tegmeyer on stage, which is wonderful, and he's talking about the Cybercab. And he said he loves putting these videos together because he's literally recording evidence for the people that are like, they're never going to build a Cybercab. It won't be able to drive itself. And there's his drone footage of a Cybercab leaving the factory. Some people really need to see the evidence before their imagination allows them to admit what could be possible. Now, when we're talking space, I mean, what could be possible? You're talking Optimus robots could be manufacturing factories that build AI data centers, and then they could be building spaceships, literally spaceships
on the moon. To go further.
Factories on the moon as well. So, well, that was where your talk sort of all came together, discussing SpaceX and factories on the moon. So feel free to elaborate on that, because that was fantastic.
Well, I think Søren Basher made a great comment and made a video with Herbert from Bridal with Herbert, where they talked about this when SpaceX and Tesla comes together, they're gonna have basically everything. They're gonna have internet communication, they're gonna have launch capabilities to space, cheaper than anybody else. Like SpaceX is already like 90% of all cargo to space. That is this private company. No other huge country everybody else combined of these huge powers like the US and China and Russia, they're like 10% of what their little private rocket company does.
Yeah.
And then Tesla, we already have, like they're producing solar panels, they're producing mega packs, and they're producing charging networks and virtual power plant with their power walls. And like, you know, you have a power wall, right?
I'm about to.
You're about to, yeah, exactly.
Solar and power wall.
So the whole energy generation as well, they have the software for the brain, but also like you said, it's like they have this Tesla One, this AI system inside that has learned so much about Tesla's production because they have fed it data for the last 14 years since the Model S came out.
Yeah.
So all these 9 million vehicles are feeding data back from how the battery pack is doing, how it's doing uphill a mountain or in cold weather and stress test and so on. So they know everything about this.
Yeah.
And that's why they had an AI that was able to come up with a completely new electric motor that used no rare earth metals. And to me, that's just mind-blowing and had not been talked about enough.
That was only
is
mentioned,
possible.
I think, once when Elon drove up the Model S Plaid.
Yeah.
He just mentioned there's no rare earth metals in it, and then that was it.
That was it.
So,
okay,
well,
move on now. So the best engineers want to go work for Elon's company, either Tesla or SpaceX. We all know that. So they have some of the best talent already when it comes to engineers, and on top of that, they have some of the best AI on the planet to help them with these productions and automate stuff. So that's why I'm saying sending robots to the moon and start building that factory that Tesla is already the best in the world of doing.
Yeah.
And they can set up an automated factory. They just start building AI satellites or whatever they need.
It's just more working towards, with their factories, raw materials in, robots out.
Yeah.
In some form.
Yeah, and the robots go back in and start making stuff.
Yes, I know. Yeah, they'll come off the production line and then just start building a factory next door and replicate themselves.
Exactly.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah,
what an amazing time to be alive, and it's so fascinating talking to and listening to so many Tesla folk here. So knowledgeable, and a lot of the things you were saying on stage, I knew. Yeah. But I can never put it in such a. So I can't even put this sentence together. I could never put it together in an hour presentation as easy as you made it look. So well done for doing that. That was really cool. So there we go. Let's leave it there. It's been a pleasure to see you again, Lars.
Yeah,
and good luck with the rest of your channel. Make sure you go and subscribe to
Best in Tesla.
There you go. And he is. Guarantee it. Right. Thanks, guys. I'm Will. This is the Tesla Jigsaw. Thank you, Patrons. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.